Greetings and welcome. I'm broadcasting to you from the top of Charleston. Ooh, sunlight just hit my eyes. I hope you all are doing all right. I hope the sound quality is okay. We got a little bit of wind up here, but I thought I'd pick a new location here just for a little bit of fun. Actually, no, I have to go to a mental health conference. Not have to, I'm gonna enjoy it down there. That's the Gaillard Center. And if you've been to Charleston before, you might know that there's a lot of good concerts and shows and things that go on there. One of the primary debates for the last election was over in the Gaillard Center. I think I did a video about that. But anyways, today I am here to talk to you about a topic that comes up a lot in the prepper community, and that is, how do I get started? I'm active in a lot of forums on Facebook and Reddit and things like that. This is a question that comes up a lot, especially in the as we lead up to incidents of hurricanes, and the recession is a big one right now. Everybody's worried about recession and inflation. So let's talk about that. Stay with me now. All right, I moved a little bit so the sun's not directly in my eyes. If you see, if you see that right there, those two, that's the Ravenel Bridge. Now, if you ever watch the television show Southern Charm, you'll see that a lot in there. Southern Charm and HBO's Righteous Gemstones and a lot of other movies and television shows are filmed here in my beautiful city. It is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna brag, it is the most beautiful city in the South. Sorry. It is also one of the top tourist destinations in the United States, right up there with Las Vegas and Florida, Disney World, and that kind of stuff. So it is a great place to visit. If you are a regular viewer to my channel and you're going to be in town, let me know. If I'm free, I'll try to meet up and we can have a beverage or something. All right, back to the topic at hand. So when you're starting out, it can be extremely overwhelming. You can feel like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to catch up with everybody else? Well, the truth is, you don't have to catch up. And despite a lot of channels that say things like, you have 3 months left to prepare, I got a secret letter from so-and-so telling me to warn my viewers that the end is imminent. What else? You know what kind of videos I'm talking about. The end is not imminent. Are we in some stressful times? Yes, but in this country, we have definitely been in more stressful times. For example, the Civil War would have been a big one, the Great Depression. There's many times. World War II, I'm sure, was a lot of tightening the belts, right? So we've been through tougher times. We will prevail through this again. Is there some things that we should be worried about? Yes, I definitely agree with that. And if you're concerned at all with storms, you should start getting prepared now if you haven't already. So how do you get started? Well, the first thing, there's going to be a little bit of debate about this, right? So number one, I said don't panic, but when you're ready to start thinking about your food security. That's number one, food security and a way to purify water, okay? So the water could get shut off even in a minor temporary SHTF, right? And so you want a way to purify water and maybe even a way to collect water. And that can be as simple as buckets and barrels and things like that, as long as they're clean. But you want a way to purify water. What are some of the systems that I might recommend? Well, Sawyer is a great one. If you can afford it, Berkey is fantastic. I do not have a Berkey myself. It's on my wish list. Katahdin, I think that's how you pronounce that. That's a great system as well. There's many other ones. I'll try to link a few in the description with my Amazon affiliate links. And as far as food goes, then I think you need a combination. Number one, if you've never taken up gardening before and you have the space to do it, maybe it's time to start thinking about it. There is a huge learning curve to it, and it's not something you want to learn when disaster really strikes. You want to learn in preparedness in advance of a disaster. Gardening and also, foraging. I've got over 80 foraging videos on this channel now. I'll put a link to that playlist up here. That's free to learn. That's a great place to start. Then you want to start thinking about your canned goods, your dry goods, and what are some of the things to stack there? Well, buy a couple extra cans per week beyond your normal groceries and put them back. Don't touch them. Later on, you're gonna rotate them after you get past 6 months of storage or whatever. Not 6 months, start with like a month. Go aim for a month of storage, right? Eventually, maybe you wanna get up to 3 months or whatever your space allows for. But get canned goods of stuff that you regularly use for your family. Get some, white rice, get some boxed potatoes, get some honey. Things like that stay good for a really long time. It's a good place to start, but ultimately you're gonna get stuff that works for you. All right, now behind me, like right there, if you can see right where my finger is the USS Yorktown. That is a carrier, a retired US carrier, and you can tour that if you visit the city of Charleston. Yes, this is partially a commercial for Charleston. That's at Patreon Point, and you can go on all the decks, including the top deck. It's a good time. And then behind me here is, where is it? There it is. Right there is our cruise ship. Now, our cruise ship used to be able to go to Cuba. President Trump banned that, so you can't visit Cuba from here right now. But you can go to a lot of other places, and this is basically the Charleston Harbor, which you see behind me. All right, next thing. So once you got your canned goods established, it's time to expand out of that a little bit. Now, these things are going to be a little bit more pricey, but they have more longitudinal, more longevity to it. So these things are things you put back at the very back of your pantry, and you don't touch them, right? So I'm talking about things like Augustin Food and Four Patriots, things like that. These are your very long-term freeze-dried food storage, right? And also maybe you throw some MREs back there, maybe you throw some backpacking meals and things like that. So you've got some diversity now. Now, I like having all of the above in our prepper pantry for various reasons. If a disaster hits, we're first gonna work from our canned goods because that's the most affordable to replace. Also, it expires the soonest. Expires is kind of a complicated word. A lot of canned goods will stay good pretty much almost forever if they're not dented or rusty or anything like that, but they do lose nutrient value over time. And then the stuff like Augustin Farms, that stuff can stay good for like 30 years. All right, so you've got your food and your water. Again, aim for like a month of food and water to store. And then what's your next thing? All right, now over my shoulder here, that's a much better view of the cruise ship. So after you've got your food and water taken care of, your food and water security taken care of, there's going to be some variance on this one. I'm going to give you my personal opinion. There are going to be people in the prepping community that are going to say things like, don't worry about your debt, use your credit card to get what you need. I strongly disagree with that. Most SHTF situations are short term, and you're going to leave yourself in a much worse situation if you charge up your debt to get what you need. So space it out, right? Space it out. What I actually recommend for step 2 is to start to pay down your debt and to start putting aside some cash. And this is where we get into some arguments in the prepping community because a lot of people will say things like, well, cash won't matter when SHTF. Well, it depends on how bad is the situation. It depends on how bad the SHTF is. Most situations are short and temporary, and believe me, somebody's gonna wanna collect their debt. Don't make your situation worse. Pay it down, have some cash, put aside. How much cash? Well, it's going to take a while for most people, but I recommend to try to get to about 3 to 6 months worth of what you would need to pay off all of your bills for 3 to 6 months. That covers like loss of income if you lost your job, if a recession, sorry about the camera shake, if a recession caused layoffs, if inflation's hitting you much harder and you have to dip into that savings, things like that, right? House repairs, car repairs, all those little emergencies that really kick us in the butt because we don't have any savings put aside. Doing that's going to put you in a really good position for all of those small emergencies, right? And that's what our focus really should be on. One of the biggest mistakes the CDC made was to put out a website, to put up a portion of their website about preparing for the zombie apocalypse. And their motto was, if you prepare for the zombie apocalypse, you're prepared for everything. That was a mistake. Here's why. People don't see the forest for the trees. They're focused on the end game, the long-term collapse kind of situation, but the reality is nobody knows when that's going to come. People think they can interpret the signs, but we've come a long way as a country, and we have unfortunately a long way to fall, and I hope it doesn't ever get to that point. But there's a lot of little emergencies that are going to come up that are going to make your life very, very difficult before it got to a complete collapse. So prepare for those little emergencies, and you're also going to be, if you do this, you do it backwards from what the CDC says. So if you prepare for the little emergencies and keep preparing, you're also going to be prepared for the bigger ones, okay? Hope that makes sense to people. So pay down your debt, build a cash savings as much as you can. I know it's hard. Everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. I get that. Do what you can. Try to get to 1 month of savings, then try to get to 2 months. Just keep building and building. If you get to the point where you've got 3 to 6 months worth of savings to pay all your bills put aside, now you can expand into the fun stuff. Now you can get into your more expensive kit, get into your solar generators and your power banks and your fancy knives and your fancy flashlights and your pews and all those other things that we preppers love. You go after that stuff first and you use your credit card to do it, I think you're going to be regretting it, because you're going to be paying a lot of interest when you didn't need to. All right. I hope this answers your question. Not trying to throw shade on anybody else. This is just Sarge's opinion on how to get started prepping. I love you all. Appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good day. I got to get over to my mental health conference. Come visit the city of Charleston. Send me a message when you do. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.